All right, good afternoon and welcome to today's session of Imagine America Radio, our continuing Career College Exposition webinar series. My name is Lee Doubleday and I'm with the Imagine America Foundation. Joining me today on today's topic of education and training opportunities for 2021 graduates is Automotive Training Center. Automotive Training Center has two campus locations in Exton and Westminster, Pennsylvania. And Automotive Training Center is also a 15-year sponsor of the Imagine America Scholarship and Award programs, having provided admissions-based financial aid to more than 2,000 enrolling Imagine America high school students. Without taking valuable time from our presenter today, let me refer any and all inquiries about the Imagine America Foundation to our website, which is www.imagine-america.org. Since our beginning in 1999, Imagine America remains a leading sponsor of scholarship aid to enrolling high school students. However, our country faces a serious shortage in certified automotive technicians. We hear from employers in virtually all sections of the country desperately looking for qualified employees, so we need to do more. Our partner in today's presentation is Automotive Training Center, and joining us today to discuss in detail the looming technician shortage and how Automotive Training Center is helping meet this need is Samantha Mantegna. Samantha is Automotive Training Center's premier high school presenter and has been working with high schools for over 10 years. But before turning the program over to Samantha, let me outline today's agenda. Today's session of Imagine America Radio will be 30 minutes maximum with questions and answers at the end. All participants can submit questions while the presentation is in session via the Q&A feature in this Zoom meeting. At the end of the presentation, or approximately 2:25. I will then present any questions offered by the participants, and we will address as many questions as possible and provide written responses to those questions we cannot answer live on the call. We will have a hard close at 2:30. So without taking any more time out of today's presentation, let me turn today's session over to Samantha. Samantha, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Lee. I appreciate it. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being on this call today. I look forward to presenting a great presentation for you to kind of pass along to your students who are interested in the fields of automotive, diesel, high performance, collision, and marine technology fields. As Lee said, my name is Samantha and I have been with ATC about 8 years now. The goal of this school is basically to get students graduated from high school, come to ATC. Our programs are focused on specific careers, so in fields of automotive, diesel, high performance, collision, and marine. Once a student enters school here, their goal is to get educated while in the building. So in the classroom time, they learn it, they understand it, they comprehend it. Then they go out into the shop and lab area, and that's where they get to work on all of the equipment, the cars, the trucks, the boats, whatever their specific field of study is here at ATC. The other big thing is that our school day starts every day at 7:30 in the morning and ends every day at 1:30 in the afternoon. From 1:30 on, our other major goal here is to help our students get part-time employment in the field of study. So we have a very good relationship with all the different dealerships, independent shops, diesel shops that are all throughout this area. We are constantly making good partnerships throughout the industry so we can help all of our students attain jobs while in school, which ultimately hopefully leads to full-time employment when it comes time to graduate from the program. So as you look on the screen here, you're going to see characteristics of a great technician. I know a lot of people use the term mechanic still. So basically the industry is trying to phase away from that because if you've been inside a new model car or truck recently, you know that it is filled with more technology than you ever thought possible. So with that being said, these are now technicians. They're not just mechanics. They're still doing the mechanicals in the car, but a lot of it is based on the technology side first. So in a new model car or truck, the amount of computer systems, it just keeps piling up. So they need all these tools to use, scan tools, laptop computers. They plug into the mainframe of the car. They run a diagnostic test on it. The students need to be able to decipher the codes, be able to go into the computer system, figure out the problem and issue, and then they can start working on the vehicle and figure out from there how to fix and repair it. So these are all the things that kind of encompass what a great technician is on this screen here. And as we move on to our next screen. We have a bit of a history here at ATC. Some of you may or may not have heard of us before, but if you have, ATC has actually been around now for over 103 years. We started out in 1917 in Philadelphia at what was called Spring Garden College at the time. Spring Garden College does not exist anymore, but ATC kept going as its own entity. So you're talking like World War I era, Ford Model T era, when the school first opened up its doors. There was a massive boom in the industry in that late 60s, early 70s. They needed a larger space and bigger facility to house all of the students that were coming into the industry now because of all the different manufacturers out there. So then we expanded and we moved to our location that's currently still there now. It's in Exton, PA, which is in Chester County. So if you know where like the King of Prussia Mall is, it's out past that way. That campus is still there today. In 1991, another part of our history is the Hiscox family actually purchased ATC, and it has been family owned and operated ever since then. And then another huge boom in the industry again led to our expansion of the school, and we built our Warminster location here in Bucks County, PA, right outside Philadelphia in 2005. So those are the two campuses that we currently have today. We've had many awards and accolades over the years as well. And as I said before, our goal is to make sure that we go above and beyond for the students that attend the school. And as we move on to our next slide, you'll look on the screen and you'll see where it says 190 dealers strong. If anybody is familiar with the, sorry, you went to the next slide, I'm sorry. Familiar with the Philadelphia Auto Show. It happens every single year in Center City, Philadelphia. So where it says 190, that means there's 190 dealerships in and around the city of Philadelphia that put on this show every year. We have an outstanding, strong alliance with these groups, and they do a lot of hiring of our students and graduates. So part-time while they're in school, and then full-time when it comes time to graduate from the programs. So like I said before, our partnerships, our alliances, everything that we do in this industry is all about benefiting our students and helping them get out there and work in the field. There's a huge demand right now across the entire United States, and we hear about it every day here at the school, that they're constantly looking for skilled technicians. The reason being is a lot of the people that are in this industry currently are at that retirement age or just about to get to that point. The problem is that they don't have all these individuals to fill these voids now, because there's kind of a lack in age groups, basically. So what they're doing is they're really, really pumping it up and promoting that they really need skilled technicians. So again, if a student is interested in the computer side of things, the car side of things, this is definitely a field to get into, because we know cars and trucks are not going anywhere, okay? Move on to our next screen. I'm just going to show you a quick little video segment about the school so you can see for yourselves kind of some of the things that happen here. It's just going to be about 30 seconds or so. So this is just kind of giving you a little bit of insight. I know it might be skipping a little bit. I think it is on my end, so I don't want to hold up too much. But as you can see, the students working out in the shop areas. So they have their classroom time, as you've seen. They have a lunch break every day from 10:30 to 11:15, and then they head out in the shop and labs, and that's where they get to work on all the different vehicles. As students of this school, they get to bring in their own vehicles to work on, and then if they have a parent's vehicle, you can bring your parent's car in to work on as well. So again, this is something that we really promote here at the school. So hands-on is definitely a huge factor for the students learning here. The more you practice, the better off you become at something. And then we'll move on and we'll go into our next segment. And I'm going to mention all the different programs that we have. Our first up is Automotive Technology. This program is 15 months long. So in the 15 months, the students are required to take the current classes that are listed on the screen here next to each bullet point. The cool part about this school, though, is that a student is only taking one class at a time. Instead of taking like 4 or 5 classes a day, they're taking one. They want to make sure that a student is concentrated on a certain area of a vehicle, fully understands and comprehends it before they allow them to move on to the next steps. So for instance, if a student starts out in a brakes class, obviously we know brakes are important because that's what stops the car, right? So they need to know the ins and outs of brakes, how to determine if they're bad, if they're good, how to diagnose problems with them. So again, the ins and outs of everything. So they learn it in the classroom because they need to understand all the different parts and aspects that go with it. Then they go out into the shop, and that's where they get to practice on it, okay? That's 4 weeks long. Some of our other classes are going to be 8 weeks long. So you either enter a class at 8 weeks or 4 weeks, depending on the class that it is. Something like engine repair is going to be 8 weeks long because there's a little bit more involved in an engine than, say, the brake system of a car. So with an engine, they're going to learn all the different aspects aspects of it, every part of an engine, how to tear it down, how to build it back up, how to diagnose problems and issues. Why isn't it running? What could be the problem? So then they start factoring all this stuff into their brains. It's a lot of problem solving that they're getting involved in here in the automotive industry, and we're here to teach them how to go about doing it. The other cool thing that a lot of people think is that you need some sort of previous knowledge to come to this school. You do not. Majority of our population comes from regular general ed high schools that maybe the student was like, you know what, I definitely have always been interested in cars. I don't know a lot, but that's why this school exists. So they teach you from the ground up the way the industry wants you to know how to fix and repair a car, so when you go out there, you're set and ready to go. A couple more things. We have a couple different manufacturers that we work with. So their manufacturer training is incorporated into our programs here at the school. First up, we have Mopar Cap. That would be Chrysler, Fiat, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Then we have Mercedes-Benz at our Exton location. We have Volvo at both locations. And then we just added Volkswagen to our Warminster location. So we have a lot of different manufacturers. And as I said before, the reason being is because these manufacturers and these dealerships need technicians. So they're like, let's go to the source where they're training them, partner with them, so these students then can work on the different cars of these different manufacturers, the software systems, the diagnostic tools. This way they're prepared even ahead to go out there and work in the field after they're finished. And they also get to add all that on their resume. Because we're in Pennsylvania, these students will also get their PA emissions and inspections license. Now, if you're from out of state, obviously you'll have the PA one. It's going to be a little bit different each state you belong to because they all have a little bit of different tweaks in the system. But again, it's very similar stuff that they're going to be testing on as well. Each of the courses that the student takes here is geared towards them taking their ASE exam. That stands for Automotive Service Excellence. So basically, they want to be certified in each of these areas. So we recommend that once the student is done each class, it's fresh in their mind to take the ASE exam. So again, this is helping them get all their credentials for when they go out there into the industry as well, okay? And I'm just going to show you a couple features real quick of kind of where the industry is headed, all right? So the first car here, this is a concept car. It's by Mercedes. It's called their Silver Arrow. This car is not being sold. I don't want anyone to get excited about that. But there's so much technology in this thing, it's absolutely crazy. They designed it to be cockpit style. So basically, it's one driver in there. It has basically a whole system in there that is like a coach, a driving coach for you. And for any students who like virtual reality and all that stuff, when they sit in this car, it almost looks like you're in a video game rather than driving a vehicle. It's 100% electric, which is crazy, and it still has 750 horsepower. So these are just some of the features that they added in this car, which is insane. Do we need all this? Of course not. But again, the world we live in today, they just keep creating and creating, and they just keep adding it to our daily lives, especially in the vehicles that we're driving as well. Next up is another concept car by Mercedes. If anyone on this call has ever seen the movie Avatar before, Planet Pandora, the director is James Cameron. So he and Mercedes-Benz got together and created another concept car called basically the Mercedes-Benz Avatar, okay? So this car is very interesting. It has these like flaps on the back of it that make it look like it's actually alive or a living organism. The flaps move to convey messages. They change color based on what the driver's mood is. You can choose to either drive this car or the car can drive you. The interior is 100% vegan. It's made entirely of recyclable materials. So again, very far-fetched. The car does exist. It is not being sold. But again, the things that these engineers, designers, and so on and so forth are coming up with these manufacturers is crazy. And guess what? We all love technology. But technology isn't foolproof. We probably all realize that by the circumstances that we're in right now. So when something does go wrong, you can't just have any average individual think that they're going to fix and repair it. It's not like the backyard days of the mechanic. Now it is, you need to have a big brain up here filled with all this information to be able to work on the vehicle itself. Let's move on to our next. We have our next program, which is our diesel program. So this is automotive and diesel technology. It's 19 months long. In this program, the students will receive all the automotive classes I just showed you. Then they concentrate on the diesel side. So it's kind of cool. You kind of get the best of both worlds in this program. They're going to concentrate on diesel engines, the diagnostic, the repair, disassemble, reassemble, basically tearing it down, building it back up, making sure it can start again, all those sorts of things. The different fuel systems. Diesel engines have different fuel systems, so it's not all going to be the same thing all the time. And diesel, again, people used to think it was just this, grimy, dirty thing. Now it's all about the technology as well. You'll see the instructor in both of those pictures, one a laptop, one a scan tool that he's using to diagnose problems and issues with these engines and with the vehicles that they're working on as well. So again, something to think about. Like I said before, when we think of diesel, we think of different things: cars, trucks, boats, buses, planes, trains, construction equipment, farming equipment, you name it, it's got a diesel engine in it. These are just some of the career fields that students can get into. These are a couple people that we work with in the industry. This isn't everybody on the diesel side, but it's just to kind of give you an idea about where students are able to work at. SEPTA is a huge transportation around in the Philadelphia and surrounding suburb area. UPS, FedEx, Volvo, you name it, the students are able to work on it. And it can be anything from small diesel to medium diesel to big diesel. It's all about what the student wants to do when they're in this program. And then next step, we have manufacturer-specific advanced training. So basically what this means is the student is given the option towards the end of when they're completing their program here at ATC, that if they choose to get more training specifically with these manufacturers here, they can apply to get into it, typically about 3 months or so before they graduate. It is not mandatory, they don't have to, but again, if they do want to, they have to have an A average, at least, almost no absences from school, and recommendations from their instructors to even get looked at to get accepted to these programs. Because basically, these programs then accept the student in, and they're paying you to go through their manufacturer-specific training program in hopes that you're going to be the technician that they molded to be working in their industry for a very, very long time. And then I mentioned Mercedes-Benz earlier. Mercedes is at Exton, Mopar Cap is at both campuses, okay? Volvo is at both campuses. So here's pictures of 2 of the Volvos that are at the Warminster location. They're also at Exton. And again, this is some of the software systems that they're going to be using to diagnose problems and issues. And some of these cars are so advanced and intricate when it comes to this that, again, you really need the education behind it to be able to work and function and diagnose these things that are going on with the cars today. The Volkswagen one I don't have on there yet because we just partnered with Volkswagen about 2 weeks ago. So I don't have a slide for that one, but just to give you an idea that we have the Volkswagen Atlas, the SUV here at the campus for the students to start being able to work on as well. Our next program up is Automotive and High Performance. So once again, in this program, the students will get all of their automotive classes that I showed you initially, and then they're going to specialize in machine shop, advanced machine shop, engine rebuilding, and welding and fabrication. So basically, if a student likes fast cars, muscle cars, tuner cars, race cars, making things faster and more powerful, most students do, what they're doing here in a nutshell is they're getting an engine, they're tearing it down to its bare bones, then they're going to hone out and bore different aspects of that engine block in the machine shop. There's about 25 different machines in the machine shop that they're going to be utilizing. And then once they get all that together, they put the engine back together. If they want to add a turbo to it, they can. In the bottom picture, you'll see that that is an engine that the students worked on. They added a turbo to it, they rebuilt it, etc. The instructor's right next to them. They have it on what's called an engine dyno. This means that this engine is able to run without actually being in the car. All the wires connected to it. There's a computer screen on the other side of the wall that is hooked up to it so that when they want to test out what they did to this engine and make sure it is what it is, it is faster, it has more horsepower, whatever kind of tweaks they did to it, they can do that on this diagnostic tool with this engine dyno. Once they're done, they figured everything out, it's up to par where they need it to be, they then put the engine back in the vehicle, and then you can put the entire vehicle on what's called a chassis dyno. A chassis dyno is kind of like being on a treadmill, but for cars instead. So again, we can run or walk as fast as we want on a treadmill, and it tells you how fast, how many calories, all that kind of stuff, right? Well, it's kind of something similar for a car. That computer system in the picture on the top on the right-hand side, there's a computer on the wall there, that's hooked up to this engine, and it's able to run a diagnostic on it while this car is on the dyno. So this car here, basically, they're going to test it at a certain RPM. Let's just say it goes up to like 5,000 RPM. So they put their foot all the way down on the gas pedal. Once they hit 5,000 RPM, they let it off, and then it captured what the car was able to make as far as horsepower and things like that. So whatever they're testing for, there's many things you can do here that the students are able to utilize. And the students are able to put their own cars on the dyno as well, which is cool. And if they have their own engines they want to bring in and work on, they're more than welcome to do so. They encourage you to bring in your own projects too. And then next up, we were talking high performance, okay? So in the high performance realm, Ferrari kind of comes to mind as one of those vehicles, right? So this one in particular is a little bit different. So this just goes to show you, as far as manufacturers go, they're doing a lot of different things. Never did I think I would hear of the term hybrid Ferrari. Well, guess what? This is the 2021 Ferrari Stradale, and it's hybrid. So basically, it's capable of running on electric power for 15 miles at speeds up to 84 miles per hour. After that, it'll then go into its Ferrari mode, if you will, and be able to go quite quickly like a normal car. But this should just kind of give you an idea, though, that even Ferrari, like a high-end car manufacturer, is doing things, tweaking things a little bit, and even doing the hybrid side of things. So again, the technology is there. It's all about what they're doing with it. And if they decide the next vehicle they put out, again, whoever buys it and whoever needs it repaired, that's where they're going to the technicians to get this stuff serviced, right? And then next up, we have our collision program. Collision's pretty cool. This program is 15 months long. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to skip that quickly on you guys. You go back to the next one. Okay, this program is 15 months long, and in this program, basically, the goal is to fix and repair the outside of the vehicle, okay? So cars are beautiful when they're brand new, when you keep it looking nice, but unfortunately, as soon as that car accident happens, that car does not look so hot anymore, okay? So welding, painting, prepping, priming, surface prep, cost estimating, damage repair, these are all aspects of the collision program. The students will also get 5 automotive classes in this program as well. And you'll see in these pictures that these are live students that are students at ATC in these pictures, and these are some of the things that they perform while they're here at the school. So again, you don't need any previous knowledge to understand how to work any of the stuff before you come to ATC. That's what the instructor is here for. We have you practice, 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 okay? So again, in the first picture, they're in a paint booth, fully geared up. So this is what it would look like in a real paint booth out in the field, okay? Same thing in the middle here. That student painted that hood. Now he's buffing it out. And the young lady on the right-hand side there, she is welding. They will get their welding certification in this program as well. And as we move on to our next and final program, we also do marine here. So we do boats. So anything that drives on land or goes in the water, basically we teach it here at ATC. This is 9 months long. So boats can be anything from small, medium to very large watercraft. Okay, so boats typically should go in the water. So a marina is typically where students are going to be spending the majority of their time. So when you look here on the screen, you're going to be able to see that this is a typical marina where students are going to be working at. We have students that will stay local to the area, and then we have students that will relocate. So for instance, if a student is like, I don't really like the cold anymore, they're probably going to want to leave the Northeast, but they could go down to Florida, the Keys, the Caribbean, out to California, where people are on boats all year long, okay? So this is definitely a cool program. What we know is that most people have to have a car or truck to get from point A to point B. Most people do not own a boat. Boats are very pricey, and they also are a lot to maintain. So they're definitely spending the money to make sure of that. That boat right there is actually a Lamborghini boat. So I don't know who's affording that, but again, some of the things that they're coming out with today are pretty crazy. And then let me move forward. And then our training method. So I didn't mention it in the beginning, but because of COVID, we're doing things, sorry, I skipped again. We're doing things a little bit differently here at the school. So we're doing a hybrid schedule right now. Our students came back to the building along with our instructors on June 15th, doing A and B days. So some students come on A day, some students come day. They also do their online training as well. So that's kind of how we're handling things now. They wear masks every day. Obviously in these pictures, these are from last year, so this is pre-COVID. But again, this is kind of how we're handling things here. There's only 12 students maximum in a classroom now. So eventually, hopefully everything goes back to, quote unquote normal, I guess you could say. But for the time being now, we're following the CDC guidelines, recommendations, and we're doing what we need to do here to make sure our students and faculty and staff are staying safe as well. The next slide is Advantage U. So what we offer for our students who are seniors in high school, basically they can take classes here at ATC after their school day is done. Okay, they're enrolled students. They decided this is the school for them. We try and hold this about once a month. Dinner is typically provided for the students, and they get to come in and kind of train a little bit with the instructors. And these are all high school students from high schools all over the area. So they get to meet students that they'll actually be attending school with once they're done high school. So this just kind of gives them a little bit more insight as to kind of what to expect every day here, give them a little more insight as to what tools are being used, the different systems, the different functions and so forth. So they feel a little bit better about when they actually do come to school, that they had a little taste for it throughout their senior year, and it kind of helps them kind of solidify that they made the right choice and so forth as well. Student services are basically kind of like our guidance department. Any problems, issues, any needs that the student might have, tutoring, etc. We offer housing here, so for anyone who's coming from further away, we do a housing fair every single spring for students to come in and tour the different facilities that we recommend that the students live in. Carpool assistance is available for students who maybe don't drive yet, but maybe somebody lives near them. We try to help facilitate that. And then our career services department goes hand in hand with student services. These are the people that are helping our students every day as far as looking for jobs and so forth. So they help them with their resume writing, their interviewing skills, mock interviews, how to dress, how to talk, how to speak, how to act, questions that they would ask you on your interview. So basically kind of the soft skills and things of that nature. So at this school, it's not just all about the technical side, because we know it's important to also have those soft skills when you go out there in the field. We also typically do career fairs. This is from last summer. And we invite in the dealerships and so forth that are in and around our area. They come in, like I said, the need is very strong. So they have their hiring managers, they have their service managers there. They're allowed to give the students are allowed to give their resumes to them, set up interviews. They even did some interviews on the spot at this one as well. So it's pretty crazy. The demand and the need out there is definitely for real, if you will. And then next up, Student Appreciation Day. We do this a couple times a year. Basically, the students are able to bring in their own cars and trucks, race them on the dyno, kind of like a little bit of a competition. We do lunch for the students as well. It's kind of a day of fun, and they get to do it a few times a year. And then last but not least, what I'll end on after these here are just some of our employers that hire our students. So you'll see a lot of different names up here. This is not everybody. It's just to kind of give you a little bit more of an idea as to who we work with, who's hiring our students, where they're located, etc. And then we also do financial aid. So the typical way a student would apply for financial aid if they were going to college, it's the same process here. We are at a fully accredited institute, okay? So again, if they qualify for financial aid, then they're able to receive the financial aid. ATC offers scholarships, okay? Last year alone, we gave about $2.6 million. The ATC scholarship, we actually have an event tonight at our Warminster location. We just had one on Tuesday night at Exton. This is where ATC provides two 100%, 150, and two 25% tuition scholarships for high school seniors. Once again, they do not need to know anything about cars, trucks, or boats to get a scholarship to go here. We also make it an event for their parents to come to, so they get an information session on financial aid, education, and career and student services. And the students get a chance to, again, get a scholarship to go here. Once a student is enrolled, we also give them a list of some other scholarships that they can apply for, that they can use here at the school, but doesn't come from ATC. So I will end there, just in the nick of time, and I'll let Lee take over, and thank you all for joining today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Samantha. This has been a really great presentation. We are now going to be starting the Q&A portion. And actually, we do have a question. Someone wants to know what the placement rate is, what your placement rate is.
I don't know off the top of my head, but it is on our website. I know it's a pretty high placement rating, something I did not memorize, but it is on our website. So if you go to autotraining.edu, everything that you would need is on there as far as placement goes, and everything that everything is on the website, I promise.
Okay, and we have another question that someone wanted to know if we would like to talk to one of Automotive Training Center's local reps. Could we go to the website for that, or should they contact you directly?
You can contact me directly, because I'm one of our reps, I guess the senior rep. So I have the reps that work under me, and we all have different territories. So if there's a school that's in one of our territories, then it will either be me or one of my other colleagues that would facilitate the presentation for you.
Okay, and then one more question. Do you have any virtual events coming up, or can students take virtual tours of your campuses?
So we do have events. So we do tours still to this day with students and their families. We do it obviously following the CDC guidelines. So when a student or anybody that comes in this building, they will have masks on. So what we like to do is we schedule it around your work schedule. So the parent, the student, whoever it is coming in, our inside admissions team basically will work with you. So what we do is we kind of have extended hours and things like that. So what we do is we do Monday through Thursday, I believe till 8 o'clock at night, Friday till 4:30, and then we're here Saturdays until 4:30 as well. This way, obviously parents work during the week, and some people are coming from further away. And if they can't come during the week, we have Saturdays available where a student and their parents can come in and tour the facility. On our website, we keep updated on things, events that we're having. We will have more ATC scholarships coming up in the next few months as well. I don't know our next one yet because we have to get through this one first, and then they'll put the new date on there. But again, if you keep looking at the website, or if you have direct questions, you can ask me as well, and I would be more than happy to help you with that.
Okay, we do have one more question. This person wants to know, does the course certify the students or only the ASE exam?
No, the course that they take, so if they're in automotive, they would have to take the ASE exam after each of those courses so that they have their ASEs. So it's a separate exam that they have to take. So they go through our program, okay? They're a graduate of ATC. While they're here, they'll get their PA emissions and inspections license and their MAX certification, which is mobile air conditioning. But in order for them to get the ASEs, it's held through a different it's not through ATC that gives the exam, it's ASE that does give the exam. So they have to take it after they're finished with their each class here, I would recommend, because it's fresh in their minds.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, before closing, I just want to thank our participants for taking time out of their busy schedules to join us today. A few things. When you leave this meeting, there is a quick survey. It's only 4 questions long. If you don't mind answering those questions for us, we like to get feedback on these presentations to see if maybe there's something we should talk about next time. And I would also like to thank Samantha for sharing with us today's presentation and encourage any and all of you to contact her directly with any future questions. But on behalf of the Imagine America Foundation, Samantha and myself, I want to thank you and goodbye.